I'm wrestling. You're not weak for me. Celebrate what I am. Celebrate what I have been. Celebrate what I represent. And celebrate the many ways I have impacted your life. I will survive this test as I have survived others. I am forever etched into the very fiber of all mankind. The world needs me. Time is on my side. History guarantees me. I am wrestling. Do not wait for me.
What's going on, everybody? This is Ben Askren, and you're listening to T-Row and Funky Show. This is episode 10. We are brought to you by Defend Soap. Defend what you have built. And our new sponsor, Tommy's All Force Nutrition. As I've been telling our listeners the last couple weeks, this show's free, so you can check out All Force Nutrition, type in the coupon code FUNKY, and you get 25% off your purchase. So go there, hook them up. That's a company built by wrestlers for wrestlers. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, my brother. Just enjoying another good weekend of wrestling. Plenty of things to talk about, but before we get into it, Ben, I got to tell you, you are such a Trump jock that I can't.
Tommy, I gotta get this first off my chest.
Okay, go ahead.
It drives me crazy, and so you think this probably because I retweet a few tweets here and there. I'm assuming that's how you know that because I don't think
you love Donald.
Okay, but so you know what people especially on the Mad.com forums. I read those every once in a while. I think they're so old and they're curmudgeons that they think anything that you retweet is something that you personally think, right? But there could be a lot of reasons for retweeting something. You could retweet something because you agree with it. You could retweet something because you think it's funny. You could retweet something because you think it's insightful and maybe you should think about it. You could even retweet something because you think the person's an idiot and you want more people to see how stupid they are.
So are you backtracking? You don't like Trump?
No, I do. But I'm just saying there's a lot of reasons. There have been other things where I've retweeted and people are like, look what Askren said. And I'm like, idiots. I was making fun of that person and you guys didn't even realize it. Like, come on.
Well, we cover a lot of bases. I mean, we get into wrestling, we get into steroids. I mean, you name it, we're going to talk about it. We just haven't got a whole lot into religion and politics. And I saw you retweeting the Donald. You always retweet the Donald.
Not too often, because I don't want to get people too upset. Because I know how people are touchy about the politics.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm conservative.
I know.
So I embrace the Republican ideals more so than the Democrats. I have plenty of great friends that are Democrats. It's not like I'm some zealot about the Republican Party. But
you're not as much of a Republican homer as you are a Buckeye homer. Let's just put it.
That's probably a better way of putting it. So I like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But on just personally, I just don't think he's fit to lead. I don't think he has leadership characteristics
But Tommy's been a leader his whole life.
I don't think he's been a leader. I think he's done deals. I think there's a difference.
Well, he's got a company. He's the CEO.
I think he does deals. I mean, I think he's a transactional guy. I mean, I don't. Okay, so would you, if Donald Trump had the same personality as a wrestling coach, would you want to wrestle for him?
I don't know him on a personal level. I know what I see, and I like. Tommy, let me give you. I wrote down some stuff because I knew you'd come at me, so I knew I had to be prepared. Right?
It was a little bit staged, but we haven't talked about our personal viewpoints or anything.
So I don't want to get into the total politics of it because if I talk politics, I can't stand it when people who don't know wrestling try talking wrestling, and it's just like listening to two third graders talk about it. So So
are you trying to tell me that's what we sound like? With this?
I hope we don't, but maybe. So, okay, here's 4 things. My wife does not really like Trump. And here's 4 things. I said, Amy, whether you like Trump or not, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you have to appreciate these 4 things about Trump. You have to. And,
all right.
She's like, no way. Number 1, he's spending his own money. If you don't like that, you're crazy because all of these other politicians are beholden to the corporations who are backing them. We all know that. And the political process is a little broken because of the amount of money that all these corporations are backing the politicians are allowed to spend. Trump's spending his own money.
Right, but he has enough money to spend to be effective.
That's still his own, so he must believe in
Right.
himself, or he's going to, what's he just wasting his own money?
No, I do like that. I do like that.
Okay, so you got to appreciate that.
I do appreciate it.
Number 2, he says it to your face. I love this, right? So, my wife especially, Trump's mean. He says this stuff to Jeb Bush. He says this stuff to other people, right? And I'm like, Amy, have you not been watching the political attack ads over the last 10 years? These things are just downright nasty, just ugly, right? So while these politicians might act nice to each other's faces, they're the ones backing these political ads that are just gross. Right? And so, Tommy, if you don't like me, I'd rather have you say, Ben, you suck, you're a jackass, than have you go tell 10 of your friends how I'm a jackass and I suck.
Yeah, but okay, so he says it to your face, Ben.
Yeah.
But he exaggerates his point. This guy doesn't feel as strongly about things as he leads the public to believe. He's a sensationalist, and he corrals people by exaggerating his opinion to get a point across. And sometimes that's effective. There's a platform where I think that that's necessary. And I'm not saying that everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is wrong, because I think there's an element of him being in the race. And I said this, in the first episode. The guy, I love that he doesn't politicize everything. I love that he's very, he's just speaking. There's no side agenda other than I want to be the president. Now his motives might be, because I want to be the king of the world, but he wants to be the president. So I do like him. This guy. I hate the fact that he's a sensationalist.
Wait, I gotta finish my point.
I don't think he's a leader, Ben. I don't think he's a leader.
Oh, I think I think one of the things. So he does say things to people's faces. Tommy, you gotta appreciate that, right? A little bit.
Yes. There's everything about Donald Trump. There's a little bit of it that I appreciate.
What if I we were friends and I put this, and then I started putting political attack ads against Tommy Rollins, like. Tommy Rollins.
It's Rollins, dude. It's
Tommy
10. Get it right.
Accent. Tommy Rollins took 6 at the NCAA championships. He wasn't really that good of a wrestler. That's why he took 6 at the NCAA championships. I forgot to mention you were hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or,
I got you.
And, why didn't I say it to your face? I might as well say it to your face.
I wish there was somebody that just said, you know what, Donald, you can say what you want. And I'm not going to get into a smearing match with you. I just think you're a clown.
They're all too scared of him.
See what he
They're
says
too
to that. What would he say to that?
That look that he gives, and the look. Every time he does it, I laugh. So, okay, I didn't even include this in my list of 4, but number 5 would be you gotta appreciate the entertainment quality. He's freaking hilarious. That look he gives people just makes me crack up. It's like, is he serious?
I love
is
the
he joking.
When he wasn't running for president, I loved his shows. His shows are good.
Yeah.
Including his debates. They get the best ratings. He'll tell you. Just ask him. He'll tell you.
He'll tell you. Okay, number 3. He won't back down, right? He says something, and these politicians make me sick, Tommy, because I love a person who stands up for themselves. Like Muhammad Ali was one of my heroes, right?
Right.
And besides the fact he's a great boxer, one of the things I appreciated most was he stood up for what he believed in. They stripped him of 3.5 years of his career for his beliefs, right? And whether I agree with his beliefs or not, he sacrificed a lot for them. So one of the qualities I love most about people is when they're willing to stand up for what they believe in. And Donald Trump will say something, and the media will say, blah, 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 this person's mad, that person's mad. He said, that's what I said, that's what I believe, I'm sticking to it, right? Where every other snaky politician backs down, apologizes, right?
Yeah.
It's from the Terry. Don't make me quote the Terry thing again, right? Mean what you say and say what you mean.
Yeah.
And I love that. And no other politician does that, period.
Yeah. He's refreshing in the political landscape in the United States. But Ben, do you feel like Donald Trump could be effective in our international affairs?
Are we talking more effective than Hillary?
I'm talking about just the change that we need.
Yeah, I definitely think he can, because I think he's not a product of the political system.
So you think he could effectively discuss the safety of our country with our political adversaries in the Middle East, Iran, and folks like that? You think that that he wouldn't, kind of
to delegate those responsibilities to people who were better at it than him, and like everyone does. Every president doesn't handle every single issue, right? A lot of them delegate, and I think Donald will be smart enough to delegate. And I don't think he's got an agenda. I think he's tough. He's smart, and that's why he's done so well in his business career. So yeah, Tommy, I'm not even set on that I'm voting for Donald yet. But
if he's the nominee,
which it's looking like he's going to be. If
he's the nominee, I mean, to be fair, Ben, I don't really think Donald Trump is the ideal president, but the ideals that I hold dear to and what I think America is built on is, I lean more towards the Republican way of thinking. I'm disappointed that there's only two parties, but anyways, I lean more towards the Republican thinking, and I guess I'd rather vote for my favorite clown, Donald Trump, than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
But honestly, I look at Bernie Sanders and I'm kind of airing out my political views, but I don't agree with anything that this man says.
Anything?
You're right. That was a good call out. That was a good call out.
Utopia, but
yes,
I
you're right.
I read an article on the cost of his plans, and it's freaking astronomical. Hey, Tommy, the other thing people are neglecting right now is we're already freaking $19 trillion in debt. Like, hello, that's probably should be priority number one.
Yeah. So, anyways, I agree. There's things that Bernie Sanders, but he is an authentic and real person.
That's true.
I think he is incredibly passionate about what he believes in, and I think that he has zero agenda other than to help America. So I really respect that about that man, and I don't want to vote for him. I won't vote for him, even if he's the nominee over any Republican, really. And just because his political positions and the way that he feels like our society should operate, I don't really agree with entirely. But that's the type of guy, as weird as it sounds, that I would love to have on the Republican side, because I just think
maybe Trump will steal him.
He's an authentic, real person. He means what he says. He's like the movie Terry in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, we're sounding like third graders. We're sounding like third graders. We got to move on.
I got one more point. We already hit it, so it's going to take a second. Is it just that he's making the politicians talk in ways they don't want to talk? They all like these political niceties and don't really get down to the issues. And Trump just says it the way it is.
The demands of the situation are whatever, much too copious for my limited dimensions.
That's pretty good, Tommy. All right, hey,
that's what my English teacher used to always say.
While we're talking about leaders and leadership, I was at NC State last week for a couple of days. One of my friends lives down there. I went down there, got to work out with the team a little bit, and they have some great leadership.
What'd you think of Raleigh? Did you like Raleigh?
Raleigh was good. It was nice. You know what? I maybe
a little warmer than Cheeseville.
Little warmer than Cheeseville. Very. They got a lot of nice things going on. But Pat Populizio, talk about some strong leadership. That's
real deal, man. He's the real deal.
Real deal. I don't know if I want to put them on our short list of guys teams who can contend for NCAA title this year, because they got the same issue that Missouri's got, and they're both great teams. But when we talk about what it takes to win NCAA title, they need guaranteed big points. And right now, Gwiz is guaranteed big points, and I think Kevin Jackson had placed really high. And then they got a lot of other really tough guys, but none of those other tough guys.
Kevin Jackson, the 41 or 49 pounder that Logan Stieber wrestled in the semis.
Correct, 41.
The tall string bean guy.
Yeah.
He's good, man. I like that kid. He's good, yeah.
So, but they got a lot of other tough guys, but none of these guys have yet proven themselves to be top 3 guys. Not quite yet. They might, but not yet.
But you got to think about where NC State was before Pat Populizio.
100%. And that's kind of, one thing that you mentioned, you'd like to talk about is emerging programs. And obviously, this is one of them. And Pat Populizio is doing what he needs to do as a leader to take this program to different levels.
And not just emerging, but unassuming programs.
Yeah.
So they might have already emerged, like a Cornell. Mm-hmm. But what's happened there on that campus, it's very unassuming. And so I think that we should make this part of our podcast where every now and again we dive deep into the emerging or unassuming programs in college wrestling and really talk about how they've made it work. You know, Tim Flynn at Edinburgh. The list goes on and on. And let's start with Popolizio and NC State. But, man, I think it's fun to talk about that stuff.
100%. And actually, I got in this conversation with Pat because, hey, you want to know an interesting fact, Tommy? I was giving Pat crap about this all weekend.
Donald Trump was born in Scotland.
Wow, I didn't know that. No. Pat was the last person to legitimately pin me.
Wow.
2003 trials. I think you were probably at 2003 World Trials. He hit me with the headlock.
In Indianapolis?
In Indianapolis. And I kept saying, who the hell does a headlock at the World Team Trials and expects it to work? I still remember the match because I threw my damn bag against the wall and broke my phone. I was so ticked off. Oh, God. He pinned me in a headlock, Tommy. That's embarrassing.
So Pop got you, man.
Oh, he got me. God damn.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, no, he's done a great job there. And I don't know him personally, but he and I are about the same age, and he wrestled at Okie State. He's from New York, and does a great job. I mean, it's just the program. If you made a bar graph of his program in the past, how many years has he been there? 4 or 5 now?
Oh, I don't even think. I think it's 3 or 4.
But if you did a bar graph,
he was at Binghamton right before that, and they were doing good things.
Straight up the whole time. And you know what he's done? He's taken Gwiz, who was coached by his brother Frank in upstate New York, and he's taken his success and leveraged it so that the program is becoming successful, and it's not just a one-off.
Yeah.
And I think Rob Cole did that at Cornell with Travis Lee. Mm-hmm. I think that
Travis Lee wasn't the first NCAA champ there at Cornell. It was I remember this because Brian Smith, who's my coach at Missouri, has a newspaper article on the wall because he was Rob Cole's assistant. I don't know if you knew that at Cornell.
Yeah.
And they had the first NCAA champ, Hirsch, maybe. Was it Hirsch?
Yeah, he was in the early to mid '90s. But the program, but I think that what Rob did with Travis Lee was he leveraged Travis Lee's success. And if you did a bar graph at Cornell, the rest is history after Travis Lee.
Yeah,
and I feel that way. Not to compliment my co-host, my cohort Ben Askren, but I think the same thing can be said for Brian Smith at Missouri with you.
Yeah.
Is that he was always a good coach and his program was always respectable. But when he got you and you had success, in part because of what he's done for you, but in part just because you're good. But he took that and he didn't just make it a one-off for his program. He built around it. And now you've been long gone. You're borderline. You're borderline.
Don't even think about calling me old.
You're borderline washed up. Going to get whipped by Snyder or something.
I'm making a comeback at some point. I'm not telling you when, Tommy, but I'm going to make a comeback.
All right. So I think Popolizio, I think he's doing that with Gwiz. He's not just saying, "Oh, great, I got a great wrestler, and he's going to hang up a few titles. This is fun." He's building around it, and Gwiz is going to be gone, and guess what? C State's going to be there to stay.
And the hardest thing, I was talking to this about Pat, is when you're building a program, until you have that, now Missouri is fairly established, right? But one of the hardest things until you get to that point, whatever that point is, like you talked about Cornell, I think they hit that point, is Oklahoma State, Iowa, Minnesota, now Penn State, now Ohio State, now Cornell. They're going to get some top guys every single year.
Right.
Every year, they're going to get 2 or 3 or 4 top guys.
It's not hard.
It's not hard for them. All
to
eyes
get
are on
those
them.
guys. It's hard to coach them up and get them to win, but it's not hard to get the talent.
Yeah, and so when you're not one of those programs, you got to hope you get those guys every once in a while because it's going to be a while till you get them consistently. But you also have to be good at making your walk-ons and your low scholarship guys really good, and that's something Pat Popolizio's done at NC State. Mm-hmm. It's something Brian Smith did and still does. And there's a handful of other coaches, right, that make walk-ons or low scholarship, not blue chip guys, really, really freaking good.
Just, second-tier recruits.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Yeah, so he's done a good job. And I think that we should I wish I knew more about the program. I just know that everything he does, they get better every year. And for the first time, I guess I see a real team. I'm following these results, and it's a real team. And once it becomes a real team, the next step is to call it a program, like a program that And then all of a sudden, he gets some happy Wolfpack donor that wants to be the benevolent donor to the wrestling program, and he says, I want to support it. And all of a sudden, he's got a regional training center. And then he lands.
They got one.
I'm talking about a regional training center.
They got 4 athletes, Tommy.
Who is it?
They got Obi Blanc, they got Adam Hall, they got Quentin Godley, and they got Timmy McCall. So, those might not be the most household names.
Corrected.
But those are 4 really good guys.
No, that's legit, man. That's legit. I didn't know that. That's so I'm kind of showing that I'm not following things. That's great.
He's ahead of your curve. Pat's ahead of the curve for you, baby.
Yeah, well, he's in North Carolina. It's not hard out of there, right?
Well, I joked him because they used to call NC State the place where great Pennsylvania recruits went to die. That was what. And when I was in college, that's what we knew it as.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I joked him about that. He said, "Yeah, I know.
They
were partying too much, and we're fixing that up." And he runs a tight ship down there, so he's getting guys on the straight and narrow and getting some winning going.
It's good stuff, man.
You ready to talk about some results or what?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
I got this in big and bold right here. Freaking Zane Rutherford. Just wow.
Hillbilly half, man.
That freaking hillbilly half. Unfortunately, on Friday night, he beat up one of my high school alumni, Jake Souflone.
No way. I didn't know he's from your place.
From Arrowhead High School, and he wrestled at AWA for a year. His senior year when we opened up. But,
so you made him who he is?
Well, not me. My high school coach, gave him a good push to who he is for sure. But wow, Zane kind of kicked his butt. I was sad to see it, but that happened. And then on Sunday, he goes and kicks T-shirts' butt. No one kicks T-shirts. People might beat T-shirts. Alex Sertis, but
yeah, T-shirts it's 2-1, and you just don't know who won or lost. But it's a 2-1 match, and anybody in the top 8, that's the score with T-shirts.
Seriously.
So the fact that he laid it on him is impressive.
Laid it on. And so, Sorensen's obviously the clear 2 now, but I don't think Sorensen and Rutherford will wrestle till Big Tens, right? Am I missing something here?
As far as I know. No, I don't think they wrestle.
So, that's it. That's going to be an interesting match, but man, Zane's looking kind of uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. I'm looking at something. I'm looking at some other notes, Tommy. I'm skipping around here.
You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Well,
right?
You know where I got listed right underneath this. I got Penn State as a team more than anybody. I think is just so comfortable shooting in on the legs, and that's where I criticize Iowa because I think Iowa guys are sometimes scared to pull the trigger because they're scared to get in those scrambles that.
I agree with you, but okay. I will defend. I was talking to. Lou Roselli about this, and I won't share his comments, but they were all, I just won't share his comments. But my comment to him was, to your point about Iowa, they didn't really shoot much and stuff like that in the previous years, but they want the stall call. I will tell you, the lightweights, Gilman, Clark, those guys. Gilman is taking noticeably more shots this year.
Yeah, but he hasn't wrestled Tomasello or Megaludis or Dance yet.
That's fair, but he's on the attack a lot more this year, and so is Corey Clark.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Let's go. Let's wait till the end of the year. Let's wait till March.
Okay.
But to my point about Penn State is they just look so comfortable attacking. And you don't see that a lot. And I think it's because they're comfortable in the scramble and they're comfortable in the position they can do. But, God, it's kind of scary. I mean, they got a few weights where they're not that great at, but, man, their stars they look good. And, Dudley blew it. Some strategy is when people blow the strategy, it unnerves me. It drives me crazy. And he freaking blew the match against McCutcheon. But McCutcheon had no fear just firing in over and over and over again. And it cost him points early, but that's how we won the match late.
Yeah, he's animal.
But Dudley blew it. I mean, listen, I'm a scrambler till the day I die, Tommy. I'll give you that. But if you're winning by a point and there's 10 seconds left,
I saw him working out.
Get your hands down and sprawl a little bit.
I saw him working out on Sunday morning in the Ohio State wrestling room. The kid's a freaking athlete. But yeah,
But he didn't know how to put his damn hands down and sprawl. Scrambling with 10 seconds
left. We'll see. He did good with DT in the Midlands Finals.
Yeah, I think David was taking it easy on him. Maybe building up his confidence so he'd lose to Matt McCutcheon in a couple weeks. Something like that. I don't know.
By the way, Matt McCutcheon's on the rise.
Matt McCutcheon, he's top 8 now for sure, I think. Isn't he?
Oh, I think he's further than that. We'll see.
What did Dudley do against Courts? I didn't catch that one.
I didn't go to the match.
Oh, Courts. That's not his. That's not a donut. That's his
Oh,
finger.
jeez. Stop it. Stop it.
I didn't say it. That was my buddy saying that. Courts, it's not a donut. That's his hand. You can't grab it.
I thought the Bucks did well with Hunter Stieber and Bojo out.
Yeah.
They still beat Nebraska. I think
Snyder.
the Snyder man is in there. It's a fact.
Comes back.
Dudley beat Courts 7-1. You knew that, didn't you?
No, I honestly did not. All I saw was it was 17-17. Snyder comes in and just gives a beat down to he's not a top flight heavyweight, but he's a pretty good heavyweight.
Colin Jensen, and he got taken
Jensen.
down to start the match. Kyle did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I heard by the middle of the second period, Colin Jensen was looking for the oxygen tank. So
Snyder was just attacking. I mean, I'm assuming
all
he scored
over.
20 points. He'd have to be attacking him over and over and over again.
Yep. Yeah, but I thought Ohio State did good. Did a lot better than against Michigan. So we'll see. Having Hunter Stieber out with the flu and Bo Jordan out with a minor injury was no good. But I wanted to see Is it Soufflone or Soufflon?
Soufflone. But
Soufflone.
it could that could just be my accent.
Yeah, I think it is. I wanted to see Soufflone and Hunter. So and a little birdie told me that Hunter wasn't able to wrestle about an hour and a half before the duel. So I didn't drive out to campus because I was. Tied down with the kids.
You took Chael's advice. Well, I was on my way to the duel, but then you told me it didn't matter, so I turned around. That was good. I've seen people quoting that already. It's only been a week.
That was a good interview with Chael.
That was good. Hey, I don't think people caught on. I think they missed it. In all the other shenanigans that went on in last week's episode, I told you guys that Jaden Cox is going to attempt to win NCAA title and then drop to 86 kilos and win the Olympic team trials. That's a big deal. I think that creates some interesting matches because let's not forget, Tommy, that Jaden had a close match with he's beaten Kyle Snyder before, but he had a close match with Kyle in NCAAs, very close, where he was in on the legs multiple times and Kyle was able to get out of bounds, blah, blah, blah. He also lost to him 4-2 at the U.S. Open in a very tight match. And, Kyle went on to win a world title.
No, I mean, yeah, you look at Kyle Snyder, Jaden Cox.
Listen, people want to strangle you, Tommy. It's Jaden.
Okay, well,
So
until you
like,
can say your
Tommy.
co-host's name correctly, just you can only correct me nicely.
They said, Tommy, get Tommy. Jaden. It's not Jaden, it's Jaden.
Well, if what do you perceive C''MON to be?
C-M-O-N. Come on.
Come on. So if I take J''DEN, I'm thinking Jaden. Is that fair?
I'm going to start calling him that when I see him now.
Well, isn't that how it's spelled?
It's J''DEN, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so come on,
Jaden.
Jaden. So that was my logic. Is that good logic or?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Anyways, the guy's a stud, man.
So I think he can give legitimate problems to Taylor, Dake, and Herbert. I mean, I've wrestled with the guy firsthand, so I know how good he is. And I've wrestled with Herbert, and I wanted to wrestle with Dake, but he wouldn't wrestle me.
So do you think he can make the weight effectively? That's a better question.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he makes 197 on a 1 hour weigh-in on a regular basis, obviously, for the college season. So you're talking about 7.5 pounds, and the day before weigh-in helps significantly because I just know some of my weight cuts for fighting, and when I cut to 163, which is 74 kilos back in the day, I couldn't have competed effectively an hour later. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So, they think he's got it in him.
I'll be honest with you. I've always thought Cox could be a good heavyweight at the international level or collegiate level for that matter.
Yeah, I mean,
surprise is going down.
Yeah, I guess he's probably sick of this Kyle Snyder guy, and
the bigger they get, the harder they fall, Ben.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. I tell people all the time, heavyweights are the easiest to wrestle.
Oh yeah.
I made that joke to Gwiz last week.
This is awkward.
Gwiz didn't laugh about it. I think he wanted to fight me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He seems like a pretty laid back guy.
You know what they were talking about? This guy. I can't believe Obi Blanc is talking about this guy named Kenny Lester. I remember
from Florida.
He was telling lies. He lies a lot. He was telling you lies when I was at the Olympic Training Center. I think I was probably a freshman, sophomore in college, and I was hanging out with you, and you're older, cool guy. hanging out with you, and I think this Kenny guy was in high school and he was telling you lies back
he
then.
told a lot of them, yeah.
So many. But anyways, so Obi brought him up because Obi's a Florida guy too, and he said Kenny's a good wrestler, and I said, well, that's kind of a questionable statement. And he said, well, but he placed at this and that, and I said, but it's heavyweight. We all know they can't wrestle.
Oh,
and
God.
Gwiz was Gwiz gave me a look like, all right, you ready to go? And
that's what every heavyweight wants to say. It's like, you know what? Let's get rid of the weight classes and just squash you guys like a bunch of bugs.
But Kenny, so Obi made the point that Kenny could legitimately qualify for the Olympics because at the World Championships he wrestled for. Oh crap! I got my map in front of me. What is it? One of those island.
That's
nations.
Got nothing.
American Samoa. He wrestled for
that
American
has nothing to do with weight classes. Come on.
Okay, listen. Kenny wrestled for American Samoa, and he's in the Oceania. Right, the winner of Oceania. I don't know if you know this, but Oceania gets an Olympic bid, and I remember being at the Olympics in 2008 and thinking, like, I sure hope I get that guy first round. That's a pin for sure.
You think you could beat Oceania?
I could beat him right now with one hand tied behind my back. I'd pin him. Give me that guy first round, Oceania, any weight. I don't care. I'll pin the Oceania guy. I'm not even playing with you, Tommy. Tie the hand behind my back. I'm pinning Oceania.
That's not a weight class thing. That's a loophole country thing. That has nothing to do with weight classes. I got Gwiz's back on this. The other thing that bothers me is that everyone says, heavyweights are slow. They don't do much. This is true. They are slower than lightweights, and they don't do as much as lightweights. Lou Roselli, who's my Olympic coach and he's like one of my best friends, he used to always, at the end of practice, when we were training at the RTC, he used to always say, okay, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, you're done, take off. And he said it if
we got our call in. She's a few minutes early.
Oh man, I was hitting the punchline.
All right, I'll tell her what's up. And hello.
Hi, this is Adeline.
What's up, Adeline? We're live, so don't say anything crazy. All right.
Okay.
Hey,
Adeline. Tommy Rollins here. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Tommy's just about to give a punchline of a heavyweights can't wrestle joke. So mind if we let him finish?
It's not even a weight class discussion. It's a physics discussion. And so Lou Roselli at the end of every RTC practice, by the way, he ran practices such as first 1 to 45 points. You can go get a drink. We're going to go 10 6-minute goes, stuff like that. So he would run really vicious practices. And at the end, he used to always say to all the RTC guys, heavyweights, lightweights, didn't matter, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, and you can be done. And I used to talk to him after the workout and like, Lou, you've got to realize a 240-pound man to do 100 pull-ups after a very exhausting practice is going to take 40 minutes, but he's in his 114.5-pound 1996 Olympic. And he thinks it's like, doing like 100 crunches or something.
That's like the jockey weight class.
So he's like, well, you're both lifting your body weight, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, well, why don't we, do 100 squats of 225 to end the practice? Everybody does the same weight, and we can get out of there. The lightweights would be squealing. You know what I mean?
Got it.
It's just physics, Ben. Anyways, we can go on.
Let's get to Adeline.
Let's get to Adeline. Let's do
that. So what's up? You're in Iowa City, right?
I am.
How's that going for you?
A little chilly. I got delayed a little bit on my flight here, but I made it.
Nice. And so are you, let's just get right to it. Are you a Hawkeye fan or not?
I am. My coach is a thoroughbred, so I think it's kind of been beat into me whether I wanted to or not.
Okay. Fair enough.
So does that mean you're not a Buckeye fan? No comment?
I don't even know if I could tell you where the Buckeyes are. I really apologize for that, but I don't follow college at all.
Not at all.
Hey, Adeline, better question, because I think we do share this common interest. Are you a Denver Bronco fan?
I am, for sure. I went to the game on Sunday, and it was amazing.
Oh, gosh. I'm a diehard Bronco fan. And everyone says I look like Peyton Manning, which, by the way, it's an insult. I don't think that's a nice thing to say, but 400 people have told me I look like Peyton. Anyways.
Well, let's ask more important. Does she think Peyton's innocent also?
She does.
Adeline, do you think he's innocent?
Innocent?
Yeah, of the steroids. Not steroids, HGH. Tommy's dead set that he did not do it, and his wife was taking the HGH. But we argue about this. What do you think?
Wasn't the article discredited? And there was like,
boom.
I only saw like one meme about Peyton being like, "No, this is ridiculous. Why are we talking about this?" So
boom. That's my Bronco right there.
I do not think that there's any way he was doing anything illegal.
Okay. Well, we got one guest on each side. Chael last week was on my side. You're on Tommy's side. So, we're 2-2. Tiebreaker next week.
Yeah.
So, hey, so the reason we wanted you on here, Adeline, is we were reading all about this really cool experience I think you and Alyssa Lampy had. Obviously, you're a 3-time world champ. You're a bad lady. So, India recruits you to come over to their pro league. Is that how it goes down?
Yes. That's pretty much what happened.
So tell us all about it.
So I got contacted around the time of World Championships, and they told me that they were doing a pro wrestling league where they were going to have 5 Indian wrestlers and 4 internationals, 5 men and 4 women on each team, 6 teams total, and they were going to wrestle in 6 different cities in India and just go around almost like a traveling team where you would meet up with each different duel, almost like if you were in college, we'd wrestle University of Iowa versus Illinois or something like that, and just go around to those different cities and compete in that location and then move on to the next one. And then there would be a finals, and the best team would end up being crowned the Pro Wrestling League champions. And my sister and I had the time to do it, and it worked out in my schedule that I didn't really have any big competitions that month that I needed to compete in. And so I went out there and had a pretty interesting experience.
Was it awesome? What do you think?
There were a lot of awesome things. I'm not going to say that it all was awesome because some of it was hard. Some of it was hard to get used to. The food was awesome. Okay. I really enjoyed the Indian food, but it didn't sit well with my stomach all the time. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship where every time I saw it, I was like, I really want to try that. I was like, but my stomach's going to hurt. So what am I going to do? But I mean, the workout equipment there was great, and the whole production value. If anybody has not checked out the YouTube clips of the videos that they're putting out from our matches, they're amazing. I mean, I've never seen so much production value in wrestling. I'm sorry?
What was attendance like?
Attendance? So it really varied on the night. Some nights we were wrestling like a Wednesday night at 9 p.m. and everyone had to work the next day, and there was probably 1,000 people, which is still great numbers. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't usually wrestle in arenas with 1,000 people in it. And then on the Saturday, Sunday, Friday nights, I mean, we were getting upwards of 5,000 people in the arena. Wow. Depending on the size of the arena, they were sold out, and so it was awesome. I mean, people were really
so cool
to have something to love there, and wrestling happened to be what they wanted to attach onto.
Wow. So yeah, I saw some of the clips. That was kind of what I said. I need to get one of these girls on and talk to them about it because the production value is awesome. And I have a strong bias. I've now failed twice at starting a professional wrestling league in America. I haven't given up yet. But yeah, the production value looked freaking awesome. So let me ask you this.
I'm watching it right now on mute. It looks awesome.
Good. It's good, man.
Yeah,
it's a great job.
I mean, there was fire. There was drums. There was so much to it. I mean, the cameras and people telling you where to go and what to do. I mean, it was.
I wonder if did they turn a profit? You think?
I don't think they did on this first year, but I don't think they had planned to. But they did kind of discuss their plans of the 5 years down the road. They were going to definitely be turning a profit by that time, and I think they outdid all of their expectations as far as attendance, as far as a viewership. They were getting in the millions of viewers.
Boom!
And I mean, it was amazing.
Did you say millions?
I said millions.
Wow, that's pretty awesome for.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, they were their TV ratings and the numbers were very, very high. Oh. So I think they were very pleased with how successful the league was for it being the first year.
Nice.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 26 days, and we were supposed to come in 10 days early, and we had some visa issues, and so we had to postpone the trip a little bit. And I got my ticket the day before I left, and then I competed the day after I got there. So it was a very fast turnaround. From what I've heard, next year they're going to have it be, we're going to get there 10 days ahead of time and kind of have a little more time to get acclimated and and things. But we wrestled every 1 to 3 days. And as it got towards like the closer to the end of the tournament, essentially we wrestled kind of almost every day or every other day, and it got challenging. Yeah, I actually competed on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then 2 days after Christmas, and then flew out the next day to come back home.
Cow.
So it was
How many total
not what I
matches
was
was
used
that?
to. I wrestled 7, and so I was actually
okay.
the team captain of my team.
Nice.
And which was great. It was a team of boys and girls, which is something I haven't been on since high school. And to also be with foreigners was the other piece of it. Was so fantastic to get to watch and really not just see a match against, a Russian versus an Indian or a Russian versus a Russian, but to actually get invested in that match and care about whether or not the outcome and start to see the true talent and skill that some of these countries have in wrestling was amazing. We had 2 Georgian men on our team who were, my mind is blown. They are so athletic and so skilled in everything that they tried and everything they did. And I just really enjoyed being on a team with them.
Nice. So
Awesome. That's so cool.
So let me ask you this. I know after you were in Madison last year for the World Team Trials, and I was at practice the next week. I coach a wrestling academy. We have 2. My brother and I have 2 in Wisconsin here. And I was at practice, and there were at least a handful of teenage boys who had a huge crush on you. At least a handful. So, with millions of people watching the show in India, are you a future Bollywood star? Or, were you getting stopped on the streets? What was it like?
Not quite getting stopped on the streets, but
Okay.
we were doing, my sister and I actually sat down and got henna done while we were there.
Okay.
And that's where they draw like the brown or tan pictures on your hands. And as we were sitting there was a couple of people who came up to us. They're like, "You guys look familiar. Why are you guys here?" And I was like, "Oh, we're at the wrestling league." They're like, "We watched that yesterday. You're that girl." So, I wasn't quite getting mobbed in the street, but there were definitely people who were very passionate and very excited, and still having so much love from the fans and people who got excited about the competition on Facebook and Twitter and just commenting on my everything and friend requesting every friend I've ever had. So it's kind of fun to just kind of get that different experience of a new culture.
Nice. So maybe on Bollywood?
I hope so one day. I met a couple directors and things like that.
Nice.
So maybe they have something cooking, but they haven't let me in on any of the secrets yet.
My buddy Tyrone Woodley actually just spent 6 weeks in India filming a Bollywood movie. He
There you go.
He kind of said the same thing as you. Love, hate, kind of liked it, kind of didn't like it. But, I think he's well on his way to being a Bollywood star.
My first
that's cool.
my first ever time traveling overseas, I was in the Cadet World Championships. I was 16 years old. Was New Delhi, India.
Wow.
Really? See,
Yeah, I'd never been to
That's
another
rough.
country. I made it to India before I'd ever been to Canada.
Oh.
So that was quite an experience for sure.
Wow.
Those
That's actually my
3-wheeled
sister's
taxis
story
are crazy.
also.
Really?
I took my sister on her. This was the first time she'd ever used her passport.
Oh my
She was my
God.
coach / training partner, and I took her to India for 26 days. And
Wow.
it was rough. So I'm really glad that you had a similar experience of that being your first location too, because
Yeah.
it was quite an education.
Yeah, I could
Gotcha.
imagine. So what's it look like going forward? We got about 10 weeks till the Olympic trials. I think you're the heavy favorite, right? Am I not wrong on that?
I think that's safe to say.
Okay, good. You can be bold. I was trying to get Kyle Snyder to make some bold predictions a couple weeks ago. And, I'm going to go smash everybody, but he wouldn't do it. Do you got something like that for us? You're just going to go whoop all the other girls, no big deal?
I only have 2 matches in April that I have to come away with a win at, and I'm just looking to get those matches under my belt and officially be able to call myself the best girl in the world. So as long as I'll be able to keep that momentum going through the Olympics, I'm going to be a happy person. So it's been a long 2 years of being undefeated, and I just plan on not having that change through this year.
Have you went and visited Rio at all yet?
We actually are leaving next week for Rio for an Olympic test event, so I'm really excited about getting to see the experience, and I actually think there's a lot of similarities between India and Rio as far as just the feel of it. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities with just discomfort of food and things like that, or that are some expectations that might need to be adjusted. So I'm really glad that India kind of gave me that education prior to going there and going to get an up close and personal one coming up here at the end of January.
Nice. Tommy, I got one last question, unless you got anything else for her.
Adeline, do you plan on wrestling through 2020?
If you ask Terry Steiner, he's got me signed up for at least 3 more quads, but I don't know. It's too hard. It's too hard to commit to like 4 and 8 years of wrestling. It's just we commit too much to our bodies, too much to our relationships, too much to everything, and so I've committed this 4 years. It's been a successful 4 years, and I'm going to finish out this 4 years and see how I feel. So I don't know.
You got all the good answers.
I don't know if I'm ready to really commit to another 4. It's just a lot of mental strain to think about working that hard for another quad.
Yeah, just get that gold medal around your neck. That'll give you a clear head.
And after 2012, I had said the same thing, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So if I feel that way after this quad, I definitely think I will keep going and get to Tokyo and get to win another one, and just looking forward to kind of this whole journey that's kind of opened up through wrestling, and just continue to push kind of those boundaries with women's wrestling becoming more of a forefront in everyone's mind.
Well, my question kind of was fairly along those same lines that you guys were just talking on. My question was going to be, now that women's MMA has blown up, and we all know that wrestling is the most dominant martial art on the planet, you can't even argue it. What's the chances you go prove you're the baddest woman on the planet? And you can make some money too.
I'm not going to say that I will never do it. My mom really doesn't want me to. She likes my nose, and she said that she doesn't want me to get hit.
Just tell her you won't let him hit you. That's what I tell my wife. I said, honey, don't worry. I don't even let him hit me.
If the price is right, I definitely could see myself going down that avenue. But for right now, I'm very good in my wheelhouse and what I do, and I'm just going to finish out those goals because they are not easy goals. We do not have an Olympic gold medalist for the women from the United States yet, and I'm going to get that medal, and then we'll see where life takes me. But for right now, that's at the forefront of my brain.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you stick with that, but I'm going to start the rumor, because we've started a lot of rumors on the show that by 2018, Adeline Gray will prove she's the baddest woman on the planet and make a lot of money.
Go.
Is that a fair rumor to start?
Let's win an Olympic gold medal, and we'll figure out the rest.
Well, yeah, you're worth a lot more if you win an Olympic gold medal. Then you can start demanding stuff.
There we go.
Perfect. Well,
good. I can hold a diva.
There you go. You could be a WWE diva too. That's that's another possibility. You got all kinds of possibilities.
Do you know I had a teacher tell me that in middle school. He told me that I was just one thing away from a WWE diva.
Yeah. Well, you're very well spoken for a wrestler, because wrestlers in general are not very well spoken. So you got that going for you too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I graduate in February, actually.
Nice.
1 month of school left. So
sweet. Well, you got anything else? Where can people follow you at?
I would love if people could check out my website. It's www.adelinegray.com. That's just my name.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Adeline Gray, or Instagram, AdelineGray12. That's 1212. And just would love if people could follow the journey through the Olympics and beyond. It's a pretty exciting journey that we kind of get to experience right now, and with women's wrestling getting more and more popular, and with things like the Indian Pro League. I mean, it's just an exciting time right now to be following sports, and into Rio. Couldn't ask for anything better than the team that I'm with, and looking to bring home some gold for Team USA.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Tommy.
Yeah, man.
I think I'm coming out of retirement for the Indian Pro League. I'm calling them dudes up.
That was cool.
I'm gonna go all over Indians and smash some Indians.
You're gonna eat, pray, love out there?
I love some Indian food. I'll smash
Indian
it.
food's good.
Tikka masala.
I didn't want to call Adeline. I didn't want to call Adeline out, but I've been to Rio and I've been to India, and they are not similar at all.
Well, I have not been to Rio and I've not been to India.
Okay, Rio was awesome, and India was terrible.
Ooh, I've heard that there are nice parts of Rio, but I've heard there's very rough parts of Rio too.
Let's talk about that, because couldn't you say the same thing about, because everyone, when I went down there for the Pan Am Games and I brought my wife came and they're like, oh, I heard it's the most dangerous city in the world. It's like, you know what? If you didn't know where you were going in New York City, you could step into the wrong neighborhood and someone will shake you down for your jeans and your tennis shoes. So
except Singapore, safest place on the planet.
Is that right?
I'm not shitting you, Tommy. I tell people what I tell people, and I am not lying, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not embellishing. I could put my 3-year-old in her underwear with $100 bills hanging out her underwear, walk around anywhere in Singapore at 2 a.m. Not only would she come back unscathed, she'd come back with all the damn money, too.
No way.
Dude, it is the safest place. You get 7 years for a bullet.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
You have a bullet over there, you get 7 years. I'm not lying. That's the truth. That's the truth. 7 years for a bullet. I mean, like, Tommy, when I go over there, I spend a lot of time over there now. Graffiti is front page news. Like, there's just no crime, or very, 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 very little.
Just the penalties are so severe.
Yeah, penalties. It's a long story. I could tell you sometime, but
let's save it for the next episode.
Yeah, Lee Kuan Yew started the country in 1965, and he's just done some outstanding things. And there's very, very little poverty over there. There's very little crime. It's kind of a utopia. Obviously, it's a really small island. There's only 5 million people, but as far as safety, you ain't got to worry about nothing.
Gotcha.
Adeline, that was pretty cool. That was a good interview, huh?
Man, she's polished. Yeah, she's focused. She's polished. She knows what she wants. Yeah. You couldn't even you couldn't extract. You couldn't provoke her. You couldn't pull the Trump on her. You
know what she did.
You
tried.
I'm gonna whoop everybody. You tried to Donald Trump her, and you couldn't do it.
She said, "I'm gonna whoop everyone." She did not back down from any statements. I could be her manager. Like Paul Heyman does for Brock Lesnar. I could be her advocate.
There you go.
She doesn't have to talk the trash. I'm just going to talk it for
her. Good stuff, man.
Nice. So I got a few notes left here. We got a few minutes.
Okay.
You want to finish
Let's
up?
roll, man. I'm having a good time tonight. Sometimes it's like a little drags on a little bit. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Maybe. Text Brian Murphy in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Brian Murphy was the 4th ranked wrestler at that weight class. How good is Imar?
He's really good, and I have in your notes that you wanted to scout him, and I just don't want to do it.
Well, it's too hard. It's too hard. I will tell you though. I'll scout him for you. I'm going to give you the lowdown.
Okay, he's the real deal. He's my favorite wrestler in college wrestling right now.
Yeah. So, and it's not going to be easy to beat him for anybody because he wrestles well in every single position. He's strong. He's got good cardio. He doesn't get tired. So there's not like an easy weakness right off the bat. Obviously, he's undefeated national champ, right? But even with some of the national champs, I could say, well, he doesn't do this well, or he doesn't do that well, right? Isaiah does it all. The one thing that you absolutely cannot do against Isaiah Martinez is let him underneath you in any way, shape, or form. Because he's so strong, and he's going to come up and he's going to score.
Yeah, he has like hydraulic, lower back strength.
Seriously.
Like he could. It's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, and then if he gets underneath you, he's going to score, and then once he scores, it's all downhill. The absolute only way someone is going to beat him is in a really tight 3-2 match. Somehow they hold him off. They don't let him underneath him, but no one's going out and taking Isaiah down 3 or 4 times.
I actually think you got to kind of wrestle him like Donald Trump would. You got to pick a fight.
No, opposite. I'm saying opposite. If it's a fight, he's going to blow you out. I think it's the opposite. If you
put him to sleep,
you got to lull him. You got to keep it close, and you got to sneak one out. You're not going to beat him by taking him down much time. You're only going to, if you take him down a few times, you're only going to agitate him and open him up.
That's fair.
You got to lull him. You got to play slow. You got to not get called for stalling. You got to control the center. You got to not let him underneath you. And then you got to, maybe try to get a ride time point, right? Or you got to try to take a double OT. Well, we're talking about arguably either the best, the second best, or the third best, right? I think it's.
I'm interested to see. I actually do think that Ian Miller. I'm not saying he's going to beat Imar, but I think he wrestles in a way that he almost kind of wrestles like Imar a little bit. He's got that explosive, like, how the heck did that happen
but
type
he gets
talent.
Tired, though. He gets tired.
He does. He does. No, he's
Bad.
got more holes in his wrestling than Imar does, but I don't think anybody would argue that, including Ian Miller. But do I think Ian Miller can can win? I mean,
No.
I don't know. I mean, no.
I don't.
But I
You
just
might. I don't.
I can't even. It's hard to build a case. But anyways,
Yeah.
I do like how Ian Miller wrestles. He wrestles a little bit like Aymar.
And so we got Nolf Imar it's this Saturday. It's on Big Ten Network. That's number 1 versus number 2. I don't think Nolf matches up well because Nolf's going to try to be too offensive and Imar's going to take advantage of him. That's how I think it is. I think if you're going to beat Imar, you got to wrestle close. And maybe I'll be dead wrong on Saturday, but I think
maybe Nolf and Kale will tweet at us and say thanks for the motivation.
Yeah, they might, but then we'll see Saturday if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But I think Nolf's going to be aggressive, and I think it's going to play against him. That's what I think is going to happen. I think John Smith is probably the greatest tactician in American wrestling, and I think there's a chance he's smart enough to tell JoJo to pull it back a little bit, right? And play the game and keep it close. I think he's smart enough to do that, and I think so. I think JoJo will be the one with a real shot at beating Imar. Now, whether he actually does it or not, obviously, I don't know that anyone can beat him at that weight. I don't want to say he's going to be KO and be undefeated. JoJo wrestled
all right. Well at Reno.
Right.
Yeah, I watched that match in its entirety live, and he wrestled him pretty well. I mean, the takedown he got was legit. He gave up sloppy backs. I don't, you know what I mean? They were sloppy. Don't you think?
Well, it was right, and I mean that's one of the things that Imar does well, and a lot of other great wrestlers do well is they chain points together, right? Because your coach always has said, your coach Tommy from the time you were 8 years old said the best time to score is after a score. And you know what? Your coach then was damn right, and he's right now because so many people have mental lapses after that score, right? And JoJo is a very high-level wrestler, but Imar hit that reversal right into that tilt. I mean, it was boom, 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 and you got 6 points on the board.
No, you just sounded like Tom Brands. Boom, kaboom, kaboom,
No, he goes
kaboom.
kaboom. I say boom. He goes kaboom. But that's chain wrestling at its finest, and that's what high-level guys do is they go one thing right into the next.
Right.
So
no doubt about it. Imar's a stud, but he's not unbeatable yet, Ben.
Not yet, not quite yet.
He's got to put down another title. Then he kind of steps into some new territory, don't you think?
I don't know. He's kind of in my mind. He's already in that territory. He's freaking good.
We're trying to be controversial here, and this is hard, isn't it?
It's hard because he's too damn good. Forget him. Scout him. Well, I gave a decent scouting report. It's going to be hard to execute on that scouting report, but I think I gave a pretty good idea of what you need to do.
You did good. You did good.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. It's got to be ugly. You have to win close.
Right.
Maybe Noel proves me wrong, but I doubt it. Okay, so the last thing I got some matches for this weekend. I think Ohio State's got their hands full. They got the Spartans coming down from Michigan State. I was actually, I actually tweeted at Michigan State athletics this weekend.
I saw.
You saw it. I said
you were trumping on the Spartans.
It's called trolling, but whatever. And they said
trumping.
They said come support the Beauty and the Beast. They call it something else, but essentially Beauty and the Beast, where it's gymnastics and wrestling. I said, why would we support you when you won't fire Minkle?
Oh, jeez.
I'm a
the other
terrible
thing
person.
that I thought of is that it's that stat that Andy Hamilton, the writer at for the Iowa Hawkeyes, he tweeted that Michigan State's been outscored 223-27 in match points.
They scored some points last weekend, though.
They did. Well, before that, and I was thinking, how many of those 27 are escapes?
No, I thought it was. I didn't think it was match points. I thought it was
dual team points.
I think that's what it was. I believe.
Okay,
yeah.
So it wasn't like points in a match.
And I think it was like there was 10 matches, so they had won. 2.7 points per
right.
match.
I'm a moron. You're right. That makes a lot more sense. I'm just not. Yeah, I'm struggling.
All right, last one on the board is. I gotta go to bed. You gotta go to bed.
Well, it's East Coast time, brother. But yeah, I had to start late, so I appreciate you hanging out.
No problem. Mizzou versus Oklahoma State, and this is important for two reasons. Number one, I was on the first team, and that was three reasons.
And then number two is the national dual seed that nobody knows about besides you.
Yeah, and so, number one, I was on the first team to ever beat Oklahoma State from Missouri, even though I lost to stinking Chris Pendleton. Number two, Missouri's got a 37-match win streak going right now, which is freaking impressive. And number 3, this will be Missouri's stiffest test until the very last dual weekend before the duels, when they'll face NC State, who is now ranked 3rd. Missouri's ranked 4th. Now remember, the highest ranked non-Big Ten team will face the highest ranked Big Ten team for the national title.
I think me, you, Mike Moyer, and 20 Division I programs know this.
Well, not now all of our listeners, Tommy. We've been talking about this for 2 weeks, so we got a few more people.
Okay.
We did have decent ratings a few weeks back. So Missouri, if they beat Oklahoma State, it's going to set up a showdown between them and North Carolina State, so they're the top 2 non-Big Ten programs right now.
Right.
And the winner will get to go for the national title against, looks like it's going to be Penn State. I don't think anyone's beaten them until then.
Come on.
They don't face Iowa, and I mean, the Buckeyes ain't going to do it, are they?
Right. Well,
and Tommy's predictions were.
Listen,
didn't you predict like 21-9 Ohio State?
I'm always predicting the Buckeyes. Always. And I also believe it. That's the crazy part.
Buckeyes versus Superman. The Buckeyes. Buckeyes versus Jesus. The Buckeyes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, and Ohio State's going to beat Michigan State, so that's no big deal there.
I'm hoping.
I hope so. If
Right,
they're in trouble, if not. All right, you got anything else?
I got nothing else. That was a nice little episode we had there. So who are we scouting next week, and what up-and-coming program do we want to talk? Or just...
I don't know who we're scouting. I tweeted it out, and we got so many names. We did Imar this week. I don't know. We could do Derringer, but he's another one where you ain't got much on him. We need to scout someone who's not very good, so we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we can scout. We'll find somebody, and we scouted Imar. We did our best.
Did our best. There's not much to go with there. Sometimes you gotta work with what you got. So hey, let's thank our sponsors one more time.
Defense Soap. Defend what you have built.
I love it.
Yeah,
they sent me some products, and I'm using it, and I like that tea trail smell that makes it smell nice and fresh, you know? I think my wife likes it too. She's been hitting on me a little more since I started using some Defense soap. Awesome. And then All Force Nutrition, check them out. Use the coupon code FUNKY for 25% off. Tommy, you have a great night. Listeners,
you too, brother.
You're going to get this on Wednesday, so you guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.